AFMC is really known.
So this video will provide ideas
and also make sure
between the office hours. Welcome to this episode of AFMC TV. I'm Robin Ledbetter. Thank you for joining us. Today I have with me Heather Mercer, and she is the Executive Director of Immunize Arkansas. Thanks so much, Heather, for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So tell me about the importance of getting vaccinated before school.
Well, it's important to get vaccinated before school because Arkansas has a cutoff of October 1st. So if kids aren't vaccinated by October 1st, then they can't attend school. So parents need to check with their primary care provider or the school nurse to see if their kid is missing any vaccinations. And there are different grades that require school vaccinations: kindergarten, 7th grade, and 16, whatever grade that is. So, parents need to check to make sure that their kids aren't missing any vaccinations that are required for school, because then if October 1st rolls around, they won't be able to attend until they get those vaccines.
Are we still playing catch up from COVID?
Arkansas was almost at the national average or above the national average for some vaccines, and the only one that we're above right now is hepatitis B. And we're still below where we were in 2019 for hepatitis B, but we've still got a lot of catching up to do.
And is it comparative to the rest of the country? Are we
Everybody
below?
is low. Yeah. So like for measles, we need to be at 95% to be at like herd immunity, and we're at 93. But the country is also below 95%, which is a little scary because we could have an outbreak and people could be unprotected.
So with that, is vaccination hesitancy prevalent? Are we seeing a lot of that still?
Yeah, we're still seeing it. And I think vaccine hesitancy is going to be prevalent just going forward because of social media and spreading misinformation. People don't get on social media and say, I didn't get the flu this year because I got my flu shot. We only see the negative on social media. So I think just with the social, people going to their social media feeds to get information, they get a lot of misinformation there.
And speaking of misinformation, is aluminum in vaccination something we should be concerned about?
No, aluminum is used as an adjuvant, so it helps boost immunity in vaccines. And it's in a lot of things. It's in breast milk, it's in formula. So it's in a lot of things naturally. And there have been studies done to make sure that it is safe in vaccines, and those studies are still ongoing, so it's safe.
And is the COVID vaccination still something that we should be getting? How often?
Yes, so we're still seeing COVID. I have a friend that just had COVID last week. So it's still around, and the last booster recommendation was in September of 2022. Not very many people got that booster. And the Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices, or the ACIP, is working to make it simpler to get. So it's probably going to go to an annual vaccine like your flu vaccine. That recommendation is probably coming in August, so stay tuned for that. And it'll be a monovalent, which is what we had before. So we had a bivalent booster, which had 2 strains of the virus. Well, it'll only have 1 strain, which will be the prevalent strain that's circulating now. So it'll be a simplified, we won't have boosters anymore. We'll just have your COVID vaccine, just like the flu.
Good. And are you seeing travel restrictions regarding COVID vaccinations too?
No, you don't have to prove that you got vaccinated to come into the United States anymore, and I don't think any other countries are requiring it either.
But there is something new with the RSV vaccination. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so GlaxoSmithKline and Pfizer have both come out with a new RSV vaccine. It's indicated for adults 60 and older. And RSV it's a very common virus. It mimics a common cold. It can look like the flu. The symptoms are like a runny nose, fever, cough. The thing that's different from RSV is that you might have wheezing. So it can be really dangerous in babies. And so we want older adults to get it so that they don't give it to like their grandkids. And the ACIP made a recommendation for people 60 and older to make a shared clinical decision with their doctor. So not every 60-year-old and older will get the RSV vaccine. It's just really for people who might be more at risk. So people just need to talk to their doctor and find out if they really need it.
And what's accessibility like for healthcare providers to prescribe it or to give it? Is it accessible for them to order now?
I'm not sure when it's going to be available. The doctors and pharmacists just need to talk to their Pfizer and GSK reps to see if they can get it.
And you mentioned 60 and older, and that really, though, encompasses affecting a lot of different people. How does that affect children? Why should someone 60 and older care about the RSV vax?
So if a baby, especially a baby that's premature or immunocompromised, gets RSV, it can really be dangerous. They can get bronchiolitis, and some babies can die from RSV. So creating that bubble for those babies is why we want those older adults to get the RSV vaccine.
Well, let's switch gears a little bit and talk about HPV vaccinations, which affects a lot of younger kids.
Right.
What do you want healthcare providers to know about the HPV vaccinations to be telling their patients?
So we want healthcare providers to focus on the cancer prevention part of the HPV vaccine, and it prevents several different kinds of cancers. And we're really kind of wanting providers to start initiating the HPV vaccine at age 9. So by doing that, there's no school required vaccines at age 9. Right now, providers can give the vaccine at age 11 or 12, but the Tdap and meningococcal vaccine are required for school at age 11, 12. So then kids are getting 3 vaccines at that visit. Whereas at age 9, they would, unless they're getting their COVID and flu vaccine, they're only getting 1 vaccine at that 9-year-old visit. And it gives them more time to get the second shot by their 14th birthday. And it probably eliminates the sex discussion, which is also a reason parents don't want to get the vaccine.
And is it required for school?
It isn't. And Australia is poised to eliminate cervical cancer by the year 2035 because they've had such a successful HPV vaccination program. They give it in the schools, but it isn't required for school.
But we're not seeing that quite here in the United States yet.
No, and they initiated that in 2007. So they could potentially eliminate cervical cancer in Australia in 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, is bundling vaccinations something that healthcare providers should do?
Well, it does help eliminate a visit. You know, it makes it more convenient for parents by giving them multiple vaccines in one visit. Some parents don't really like that because it's, more sticks to their kid. But if coming to the doctor's office or going to a pharmacy is inconvenient for a parent, it just makes it easier for them to get all the shots that they need in one visit.
Well, we've covered a lot: HPV, RSV, COVID, all these vaccinations. What is the one thing that you think healthcare providers, community partners, our audience should know about vaccinations this time of year and looking forward as we get ready to start school?
Well, I just think, if parents ask questions about vaccines, it doesn't mean that they're objecting to a vaccine. It's just they're curious. So sometimes providers think if a parent is asking a question, that means that they're objecting to a vaccine. That just means they want more information. So just because someone asks a question that sounds like they don't want the vaccine, it doesn't mean that's what it just means they need more information so they can make an informed decision about the vaccine.
Well, Heather, thank you so much for talking to us today.
Thank you for having me.
I've learned so much, and I'm sure that our audience has too. And that's it for this episode of AFMC TV. Have a great day, and thanks for watching.